Hello, fellow players of Hero Wars. I'm Jay. Welcome to Jay vs. Hero Wars. Today, I'll be talking about Nexters Global, the company who oversees everything about Hero Wars, right? So, Hero Wars Mobile, Facebook, and Web. Some of my concerns surrounding some of the changes that have happened to Hero Wars Mobile, as well as this update that we just found out about regarding the potential of a second bridge. So without further ado, let's check it out. Alright guys, so here we are taking a look at an image given to us via LoadRunner. Shout out LoadRunner, Hero Wars Mobile Spoilers Expert. Anyway, here is a potential second bridge coming to Guild Wars, right? And Hero Wars Mobile, which is interesting. So here you can see there's a connector to the lighthouse, which gets you to the foundry, which is essentially connected to the three different, I guess we'll call them gates. And you also have access to the springs, which can get you, those three gates can get you to the Citadel. So you can avoid the bridge. That is good and bad in my opinion. So obviously some of the pros are now we don't need to necessarily worry about huge quote-unquote bridge trolls, right? So those are people who have put a lot of money into the game and artifacts, which were just brand new to the game in Hero Wars Mobile and cost a lot. So some whales, right? That's what we call people who spent a lot of money in game and invested in those artifacts might be a little bit upset about that, which is concerning. And I'll get to that in a second. But the pros are, of course, you have people who can maybe have another option instead of just attacking the bridge and having kind of no chance, depending on how strong the opponent is versus the attacker, right? You have a chance at heroes and countering those heroes, which might be an easier time and give the weaker team a bit more of a chance. But it might also upset the players who are spending a lot of money. And now some people might be saying, why do we care if we upset some of the bigger guys? They spent a lot of money and we want an equal playing field. I think that's fair, but I also think we got to keep in mind here that if we lose those big paying players, right, that could hurt Hero Wars generally, which could also hurt Nexters, which could hurt Kismet, who purchased Nexters and Hero Wars Mobile the game, well, Hero Wars generally, right, mobile, Facebook, and web, which is kind of their biggest grossing game. So that could hurt all of that, which could lead to Hero Wars having less time as a game. Just one of my concerns is, the longevity of Hero Wars as a game. And obviously, if we lose too many high-paying players, right, that could really hurt the game adversely. And maybe adding a bridge just to help players who are having zero VIP, maybe that's not the best choice. I don't know. Obviously, having this will help players have more of a fair playing field, but I think also they need to compensate for some of those players they're inevitably going to lose, because I think anytime you implement new decisions, you're going to have pros and cons. And of course, if they lose some big ticket players, right, they're going to need to compensate for that somehow. And essentially what's going to happen is maybe that means Valkyrie's Favor is going to be more expensive for everyone on a weekly basis. So I don't know. I don't know what's best. I'm a little bit concerned about the long-term effects of a second bridge. I think to me, it's pretty obvious why, but I'll go into what's going on with Nexters generally as a company and looking at some of their numbers to see how some of the growth has happened. And obviously, when we're talking about a company being bought via SPAC, numbers are very important when it comes to how the financials of the company are operating. Of course, I'm not giving financial advice. I am not a financial quote-unquote expert. I don't get paid for that. So let's take a quick look at what's going on with Nexters and seeing what's going on with some of the financials and why Hero Wars Mobile has such a big impact on everything that's going on, and why I say this second bridge could have a very big impact when we consider, again, Hero Wars just went public. Well, I guess they went public via SPAC, right, with Kismet. We also have the fact that the artifacts came out, and those are big in terms of cost financially and I would say even mentally in game. We also have the advent of this potential second bridge. So those are a couple things to keep in mind. Now, I did mention that Nexters went public via merger SPAC, right, with Kismet. So Kismet acquisition, right, as any other SPAC, basically has a lot of money that they decided to put into Nexters Global to have a partial ownership of the company, right? Or essentially, basically it's a partial ownership because you're basically buying shares of a company to take them public. That's really how it works with SPACs in my experience. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, just based off of my private investing knowledge, right? So like I like to invest, but I also like crypto. But again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to buy anything. Um, but this is just one thing that Nexters did to go public, right? And usually you have to go through the SEC. You have to get an evaluation of your company's actual value. They went public at a very good time because they were having really good growth, and part of that, in my opinion, is due to the pandemic. And we'll take some looks at some of the numbers to see if that maybe falls in line, and why I'm concerned about that when we have all these changes happening to Hero Wars. Again, the artifacts on mobile, as well as the second bridge potentially to mobile. I'd say Facebook and web have been very static in the fact that there haven't been huge changes so far, which I think has been very good for them. But okay, going back to this, you can see that KSMT is the ticker symbol for Kismet acquisition. I'm not going to go too much into the ticker symbol or the stock itself. That's not really what I'm going to do in this particular presentation. If people want me to do that, I can. I'm more than happy to do it. Not give financial advice though. But going forward, there is a investor's guide. And so when we look at this, we can kind of get a sense of how Nexters is doing as a company. And you can see here, right? So I just went to basically their presentation for investors. And there's an evolution of, basically players who are still playing. So this is all about active players. And that's kind of a count for how many daily average users there are. And so you can see that the COVID impact, there's a huge jump, almost well, not 4 times, but almost a 3 times, 2.5 times increase in the number of daily active users for Hero Wars, generally speaking. And you can see there's already a doubling just from the start of COVID. And you can see, obviously there's a height, then you have a slight decline, which makes it falls in line with COVID for me personally when I'm looking at these numbers. Then, of course, they have a pay conversion rate. So how many players are actually paying versus how many players came and joined. And these are some of the conversion rates. I'm not really going to go into those too in depth here. We're not talking about, we're not trying to give financial advice. We're just trying to say, my concerns about the longevity of the game. And obviously, finances are very important for a company that just recently went public. Of course, a company like this has 3 other games that they play in addition to Hero Wars, right? So they have Chibi Island, Puzzle Island, and Riddle Island. And maybe here's the thing. So if Nexters is making a lot of money on these games, then maybe Hero Wars isn't such a big concern to them, and they don't care if players leave or not. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. And when we look at a breakdown of where Hero Wars money is coming from, essentially, we can kind of see here that there is a major amount of money coming from Hero Wars Mobile. Now, let me find it here. Here we go. These are some bookings where the money is coming from. Of course, I will have this linked in the description as well as the quarterly growth. So this is what I was talking about. Look, you can see 74% of Hero Wars financials are from mobile. So Hero Wars mobile transactions make up 74% of this $318 million that Hero Wars made in 2020. We can see that Facebook or social was 17% and 9% was dedicated to Hero Wars web. So you can see mobile, it's a big deal. And so when we had that strike, I know it may not feel like it was a big deal, but it was a huge blow to Hero Wars generally and Nexters generally. We also have here, right, so these are the 4 games that comprise Hero Wars. And you can see in a month, right, they revenue The estimated revenue is 11 mil for Hero Wars. Let's look at the breakdown of the 4 games. You can see that 99% of the avenue or, or of the revenue, right, is from Hero Wars. 11 million right here. This is none of this is even close to 1 million. So Hero Wars is really carrying Nexters currently. So it's a very important game for Nexters generally, and I think Hero Wars Mobile has a lot of say as long as we actually decide to say what we want to say, and we need to make sure we're on the same page here. So again, I talked about artifacts 2 months before they came to the game. I don't know how we feel personally about this new bridge. I do think that obviously players who spend a lot of money might not like it. They might not like it. That's just my opinion. Um, but with that being said, regardless of how you feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this breakdown of my thoughts and some of the concerns about longevity. Tell me if you feel the same. If you don't, that's cool too. Let me know. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys all in Dominion.